Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
That was the Lamar thing. He put it up on social media. It wasn't his quote, but he used somebody else's quote, and it was something along the lines of, if you have something, take care of it. If you have something great, take care of it, respect it, and it will give you all the good back. And he was referring to himself. You know, Baltimore's got something good. They need to pay him, and that's what he was referring to. And if you pay him, you'll win games. And without him, look what happened. You lost in the playoffs. Didn't really have a chance offensively, and now Cincinnati moves on. So the Lamar Jackson situation is interesting. There's a lot of landing spots for him. People have said Tennessee. They've said Miami. You know, all the different quarterbacking, openings might be a landing spot for Lamar Jackson, so he could be on the move. Tom Brady could be on the move. If Miami's a spot, Tua could be on the move. And then you look at C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young. There's a lot of moving parts and musical chairs when it comes to quarterbacks in the National Football League this offseason that I don't really know where they're going to land. So it is fun to follow. Tom Brady's name has been reportedly tied, obviously, to the Dolphins. That hasn't been as hot lately. It's been tied to the San Francisco 49ers, but I think they're pretty confident in Brock Purdy and Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance, and having that combination, two out of those three quarterbacks. But that makes Jimmy Garoppolo expendable. And where does Jimmy Garoppolo end up? Right? So there's a lot of different moving parts, musical chairs. Tom Brady's name's been linked to Tennessee, but so has Aaron Rodgers' name. So in the NFL, it's going to be a wild offseason, especially when it comes to quarterbacks.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hashtag dad advice from Jim Pedersen, my dad, who said, cheer as loud as you want for your own team. Don't ever boo the other team. Don't ever boo the other team. And to boo your own team? Unthinkable. In the world of James William Pedersen. So, A, I would never do it. B, with the cost of those things? Are you kidding me?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the RP Show. It's your favorite daytime sports talk show. The lights just came on. Live on Game Plus TV. We're leaving the harbor. Live on WQEE Radio in Metro Atlanta. Shout out Ryan O'Radio. He's the very first to write into the show today and say, hey, Rod Squad. Can I put up another disclaimer before we get rolling? And we do bring in the co-host, Darren Moose Dupont. Please keep an open mind today. Today's show, I have a sense, is going to get a little spicy. For those that saw our show preview on Twitter and our social, they'll know what we're going to talk about here. I think it's going to get very interesting, and maybe we'll make some headway. Do we have Darren Moose Dupont or not? Because I'll just roll. There he is. Hi, Moose. What's going on?
Hey.
Why did you have to wear that jacket? To our radio listeners, he's wearing a Maple Leafs jacket. You going to rub it in already? It's not enough. You won the bet last night. It's not enough, huh?
Approved.
I wasn't going to say anything today about the game last night. I wasn't, because, the post-game trash talk thing. But you know what? When we were down there, what was it, 4-1 or something, I was pretty nervous. I'm like, I can never win a bet against you. So finally, I got one.
Finally did. Yeah, he's got a Maple Leafs jacket, a Maple Leafs mug, which incidentally is the only cup that you can find with Toronto associated with it. Okay, we're good. We're good. Coming up in hour one today, Cincinnati ESPN radio talk host Mo Egger previewing NFL divisional weekend coming out of the wild card weekend. The sports doctor Dave Patrician's going to join us from Winnipeg, and 13-year NHL veteran, our good friend Rich Sutter, to talk about all things NHL. Can we hit the quick six show horn? Right down to business, if you will. We could talk about the games, and gosh knows people are talking a lot of NFL, but I'm just going to dive right into the deep end. What the heck? I was at a 12-step meeting this morning. I don't mind saying we need to talk about the things that are uncomfortable, some things that people would just like to sweep under the carpet. You don't get anywhere without talking about them. The number one point is Philadelphia Flyers defenseman Ivan Provorov cited his Russian Orthodox religion as the reason he did not participate in pregame warm-ups when the team wore pride-themed jerseys and used sticks wrapped in rainbow pride tape on Tuesday night. The 26-year-old former Brandon Wheaking boycotted the pregame skate with his teammates before his team's game against Anaheim as the Flyers celebrated their annual Pride Night in celebration and support of the LGBTQ community. He played nearly 23 minutes, though, in the game. He said afterwards, quote, "I respect everybody's choices. My choice is to stay true to myself and my religion. That's all I'm going to say," unquote. Provorov declined to answer any follow-up questions. His coach, John Tortorella, said Provorov was, quote, "true to himself and true to his religion. And it's one thing I respect about Provy. He's always true to himself." So, again, we're diving right into it because any couple of boobs can talk about the scores and the games. Before you give your opinion, Darren, this is our poll question today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collisions. And I'm laughing because of the reaction that it's drawn. Capital Auto Mall dealerships all across the Canadian prairies and the state of California. Whose side are you on in this Provorov situation? And I very rarely make undecided as a poll option. Today I did, and I don't always post a poll, but today I did because I know it's a touchy situation. Are you on Provorov's side? Are you on the NHL side? Are you undecided? And quite frankly, as I sit here today, Moose, I had to vote for undecided because I respect Provorov's right to do what he wants. It's his belief, and I get it. He didn't want to participate in warm-up. I think we kind of got to go along with that. I don't necessarily respect his opinion. You and I both are on record as saying that we're pro-LGBT. We've got family and friends, members of that community. So we could sit here and talk for 2 hours about that whole debate. I don't like it, but it's the guy's religion. And you know what? When it comes to religion, you kind of just hands off. Let people believe what they want to believe. So I'm undecided on the poll. What's your take on what Provorov did?
Yeah, undecided is a good way to put it. And it doesn't mean you're undecided about supporting the LGBTQ community, because that's not the case. You and I are both, supporters there and allies. I was telling you guys earlier, and I was surfing Twitter and following some of this, and one of the co-founders of the Pride Tape organization said on Twitter that the whole organization is never been about forcing your beliefs on somebody else, but it's about promoting it and finding out who your allies are and trying to open up discussion. And I think we definitely opened up discussion last night. This is a super gray area because if you don't believe in something, you shouldn't be forced to do something, no matter what that looks like. But there's a difference between it becoming now actively attacking the opposition, which I don't think he was doing, but all this discussion is kind of turned into that, and it becomes very complicated. But I think at the end of the day, the fact that it's creating some discussion is a good thing, and I think we'll keep moving forward.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. So the results of the poll so far, I put it up almost an hour ago. 56% say they support Provorov. 24% say they support the NHL. And when I say the NHL, it's their decision to have Pride nights like this. They support Pride. You and I support Pride, so I'm okay with it. 20% say undecided. But a guy in Hamilton wrote in, Brian, and he says, obviously your followers are homophobic. Ron in Pigeon Lake, Alberta writes that he says, it's his choice, but don't come out and say that you respect everybody, though. Obviously, he doesn't. Jason in Red Deer says, I find it really ironic that we are slandering somebody's personal and religious choice and rights for going against people's choice and rights. I like this guy from Bill Johnson. He says, I'm with Provorov all the way. It's about time someone gets some balls and doesn't believe in this crap. What, sexual orientation? We don't believe in sexual orientation? Anyways, Kevin the Medium has joined us. Come on, Kevin, inject some sense, okay? He says, good morning, RP peeps, and a massive happy birthday to John Ohm.
How about that?
It is his birthday.
How about that?
John Ohm. So I think that's about as far as I want to wander down this road. I'm at the end of my leash. Yeah, that is really all it is. So Provorov, you can't blame him. He doesn't want to participate. That's his deal. Serena said that, I probably shouldn't quote her. She should be able to speak for herself. But she said, he's going to be blackballed for this. And I'm like, I don't know. Look at Kaepernick. Guy never played another down. And the National Football League is the same, but it's not. So we had a pretty rousing discussion in our morning meeting about this. This is a silent protest. This is the last thing we'll say. It's a silent protest. He didn't want to come out for a warm-up. He didn't kneel during the anthem. He didn't attack anybody with his stick. Would you not say it's a peaceful protest, which people have the right to do, right, and not be bashed for it?
Well, remove yourself from the situation and don't put yourself in situations that make you uncomfortable. I'm a big, that's important. I think part of the issue is around him still playing in the game. If he'd have stayed home and just been a scratch and been like, look, I'm going to sit this one out, fine. But now the more attention that's drawn to it, talk about being blackballed. If you're a young hockey player who happens to be gay or bisexual or whatever your orientation is, you're probably not going to want to be in a locker room with Provorov now, because now you've got a guy who's actively, openly said, I don't believe in this and I don't support you, because I'm not even going to walk with you out on the ice wearing the jersey. Like, I won't even touch this. So that would be very uncomfortable, and that goes against the inclusivity part. If he would have said, look, I don't believe in this, it's not my religion, but as a teammate, I'll wear the jersey and just swallow it for the day, and it doesn't affect what I believe in my heart, then we would have all been okay with it. But I think this is a bit of a gray area.
Lyle, Game Plus TV in Toronto, makes a great comment. He says it's disappointing. He's watching on Game Plus. Lyle in Toronto says it's disappointing, but at the same time, we can never expect the whole world to be on the same page about everything. It's his choice as much as it's a disappointing one that will cause more outrage on both sides than it's worth. All I can say, that's a really good point. Can we agree to disagree, shake hands, and move on? All I will say, if you've ever been excluded from anything because of the way that you were born, it doesn't feel very good. I'm in the recovery community. We get excluded from a lot of things. Recovering alcoholics and addicts. Doesn't feel very good. It's one of the big reasons why I support the LGBT community, because I don't want anybody to feel that way. But that's just my take. Talk about the games. Okay, we will. Let's move on. A lot of people going, thankfully. Interesting, the game of the night, we had a poll on our Instagram, and I came up with the answer. I said, what's the game of the night in the NHL tonight? I gave you 4 choices. The Leafs and the Panthers, the Habs and the Jets, the Oilers and the Kraken, and just because I think I said Chicago, Buffalo. And the one that actually won the poll was the Oilers and the Kraken, and we'll get to that. That was a bit of a weird game. But you and I were hunkered in. What's become my Florida Panthers, simply because this is where I live. I'm not really on the Panthers train, but the more I'm around them, I will be. But holy smokes, were the announcers going nuts about the officiating last night. Like, I mean, really upset about the officiating in the game being one-sided towards Toronto. Fact of the matter is, I don't really care. I put it on Twitter just to go fishing. And producer Clark, I got one.
Spicy.
Clark was upset that he's like, well, the Panthers are just being undisciplined. To paraphrase what producer Clark said. I don't really care. But the power plays were at one time 6-1 for Toronto halfway through the game. So I think they had a point, the Panthers. But the Leafs came back and won the game 5-4 in overtime. You said you were a little nervous.
Well, yeah, when Matt Murray allowed 4 goals on the first 8 shots of the game, I thought this was going to be a shooting gallery for Florida, and the Leafs weren't going to find a way back in this one. But, a little resiliency is a good thing. The Leafs are a team that really don't have third-period comebacks. Like, I think if you call this a third-period comeback and winning in overtime, it's their first one of the season or second one of the season. And if you're a team that's going to win in the playoffs, you better be able to deal with a little adversity. If you want to come out of a first round, let alone win a Stanley Cup, you better be able to come from behind, deal with some bad things. And so I thought they handled it well last night, getting down early. They made the goaltending change. They steadied things down and did what they needed to do. And I thought that was a good sign from a Toronto team that needs to see some growth.
It was a war, though, wasn't it? Like, for instance, when Radko Gudas, who did he hammer into the net near the end of the second period? Because it led to the power play that led to Wee Willie's top shelf goal with like a second to go in the period. I don't know which Leaf he knocked into the net, but I'm like, why do you two teams hate each other so much? This is great. I feel like we're in playoff mode now across the National Hockey League. Do you not?
Yeah, it really felt like that. And you're seeing guys going to the net like, you know, Dryden Hunt, who's been on this show, when he went to the back door on the play from Morgan Riley, he went hard to the net and like really got his nose dirty there to get to that goal. And I feel like guys are starting to do some of those things, go the extra mile, put their nose in tough areas now, because it feels like everything matters a little bit more as we get closer to the playoff.
Yeah. A lot of people chiming in on last night's games and also, obviously, the Ivan Provorov situation. I asked Kevin the Medium for the last word on this. He says he has the right, Provorov, not to participate, but he also has to face the consequences of his actions. And I guess that's fair, too. Andrew Stout says, big win for the Habs, beating the Jets. I think we're going to get a good draft pick, but the chances for Bedard are slipping away.
Oh,
what a conundrum.
No.
What a conundrum that they're in, the Montreal Canadiens. The players are trying to win, and the fans don't really want them to. I don't really know. They don't know. They have a identity crisis in Montreal right now. They were down 3-0 or 4-0 to Seattle. Yeah, 3 or 4-0 to Seattle after the first period last week and got booed off the ice. Do you want them to win or not? Hang on, Moose. Sorry. From Jennifer, we're going to have to push this. Well, we have time here. Jennifer from the Four Seasons says, nice to see Evander out there yesterday. Loved Fogel's goal from his butt. I know. And the Derek Ryan goal where he just slipped to the crease. The puck was just laying there. There was like Seattle would have gone home last night going, yeesh, we played terribly. We should have had that game. Seattle should have. But it was a huge win for the Oilers. Their fourth win in a row. They're still seventh in the conference in terms of the wild card. The Flames are eighth, but they got Evander Kane back. And to be honest, when they said Kane was a game-time decision, he took the morning skate yesterday, I believe. I thought he's probably not going to play. And then he did. I think he had 7 shots on goal. I don't think the Oilers will probably look back now, Darren. Now it's over to you, Flames. They got Colorado tonight. They're really going to have to pick it up. I'm not done talking about all these games yet, but if you're an Oilers fan, you should be pretty happy right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the thing with that, yeah, they're still in 7th, but things have tightened right up in the Western Conference, like from first right to the playoff cut line. It is tight, tight, tight. And in 3 weeks, the Oilers could be, top 2 teams in the conference if they keep this up.
From Rich Robertson, he says, Rod, did you watch the game? The Oil fully deserved the win. Says you, brah. You're an Oiler fan. Can you stop? I watched enough of the game. Seattle isn't as talented, but they've been playing better as a team. Look at the standings. Come on. We've got a special surprise for you coming up next. And it involves our top 5, bottom 5. We've got the NFL divisional games to talk about. A lot of very interesting things, so hang on after this brief pause. We're right in the middle of the Quick 6 show topics. We're live on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and WQEE Radio.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right. Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.99% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Okay, welcome back to the RP Show. Producer Clark has gone to a meeting. We've got Tuna now producing the show. So, Darren, let's talk about it. What do you want to say about Clark? Joking, of course. You Leaf fans are all the same. By the way, on the Ivan Provorov situation, he didn't take Warmy for the Flyers last night because he didn't support the Flyers Pride Night. Jerry Phoebe is watching in Gallagher Ridge, New Brunswick. Hello, Jerry. Thanks for joining us. He's texted in on the 902 line, and he says, in his position, the young man can obviously have his own beliefs, but he shouldn't be broadcasting it in opposition to the greater good. Isn't that an interesting way to look at it, by the way? Why don't you just say, hey, I broke a skate blade. I can't come out and participate in warm-up. Would this be that big of a deal? He makes a very good point. Why do we have to make a big deal out of it? Keep your opinions to yourself. Don't talk politics and religion. Did we forget about that? That's a pretty good point by Jerry in New Brunswick.
It's a great point. There's a difference between me saying I don't support something, and then me telling you I don't support what you're doing, right? Now I'm being, I'm protesting it, and now I'm actively going against you, as opposed to just doing what I think is right. So there is a complete difference, Make him a healthy scratch for the night, remove the distraction completely, let him have his night, not support it, whatever, and say he was sick and move on.
This will probably be a theme through the whole show. And incidentally, these Oiler fans that are upset, I don't recall saying that the Oilers didn't deserve to win last night 5-2 over Seattle. I said it was a weird game. Did you see the way the goals were scored? Jack Campbell, the one right through, he was looking at his glove. There's a hole in his glove. Whatever, guys, the Oilers are going to win the Stanley Cup. Sorry. I don't want to fight. I will tell you this. Rick Bowness in Winnipeg, with the Jets getting thrashed 4-1 by the Habs, the head coach of Winnipeg said, we didn't deserve to win. We didn't have legs. We didn't have compete. Good for Rick Bowness. Were you going to say something before we move on to the next point?
No, just that it's weird with Montreal winning and Buffalo going on crazy streaks and Chicago winning last night. Does anybody want Connor Bedard? Philadelphia won last night.
Interesting you would say that. Good timing. As we do the NHL top 5, bottom 5, we have something very special here on the RP show. Special delivery has come in from our friends at Bet Regal, and it is this robe for yours truly. There's more to the outfit coming, but this is what I'll be Regal props. What do you think?
Very, very elegant and royalty as you sit there and tell us who the best teams are. Yes, very regal.
Very regal. Yeah. So here we go. Top 5 in the National Hockey League, beginning with the number 1 team. It's the Boston Bruins. Everybody can agree with that. They've only lost 5 games. The number 2 team in the National Hockey League is the New Jersey Devils. They have won 5 games in a row. The number 3 teams, the Toronto Maple Leafs, they just beat America's team in overtime last night, the Florida Panthers. So 1 Boston, 2 New Jersey, 3 Toronto. Number 4, the Winnipeg Jets. It's going to take more than losing to Montreal to knock them out of the top 5. We've got them at number 4, and they've got the most wins in the Western Conference. At number 5, the Vegas Golden Knights, just because. Your bottom 5 in the National Hockey League are these, Moose. Feel free to disagree. Number 28, the Vancouver Canucks. Don't take my word for it. Take theirs. Good players, bad team. Number 29, the Chicago Blackhawks. You're not supposed to be winning, guys. Number 30, the Arizona Coyotes. They had lost 9 in a row. Get this one. They can't even sell out Mullet Arena, yet they're building a new rink. Number 31, second worst team in the NHL, the Anaheim Ducks. They have lost 5 in a row. At number 32, the worst team in the NHL is the Columbus Blue Jackets. And as far as I'm concerned, it's not close. They're by far the worst team in the NHL. There you go. Top 5, bottom 5 for Bet Regal. Your thoughts?
Yeah, pretty good. You know, I look at it again on the outside. Tampa's won 8 of 10, 4 in a row. I think they're charging pretty hard right now. Tampa's one team. I mean, the Jets lost last night, but Tampa's one team I think that we're going to hear something from here down stretch in the second half of the season.
Did you get stung by a bee? It sounded like you were slurring there.
Did I?
You're like,
no.
Tampa's going to be a team. Come on, guys. Back me up on this. Didn't he?
Someone's got to back him up.
Keep on. Yeah. Listen, I'm going to keep on the Bet Regal robe. We're not going to play Deal or No Deal just yet for the NFL division games this weekend, but we are going to talk about the games right now. I got some very interesting points I want to get to here before we bring in Mo Egger from ESPN Cincinnati. And I got the betting lines. We'll see if they change by tomorrow when we do play a Deal or No Deal for Bet Regal. But on Saturday, it's a doubleheader. It begins with this AFC clash, Jacksonville at Kansas City. Nobody expects much out of the Jags. Chiefs favored by 8.5. And then the late games, the New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Eagles are favored by 7.5. Not a shock. It's the home team in all 4 playoff games this weekend that's favored. What's your take on the Saturday games? Jags, Chiefs, Giants, Eagles.
I think they're going to be entertaining. The Jags and Chiefs is interesting because Jacksonville down the stretch with Trevor Lawrence have been very dynamic. I mean, probably could have went either way this past weekend, obviously, against the Chargers. Could have went either way in the AFC South kind of play-in game against Tennessee. But they're a team that kind of plays up or down, depending on who they're playing against. And Patrick Mahomes, historically, hasn't been able to put teams away in terms of really winning games by multiple scores. They play in a lot of close games, a lot more than you would think. So this game, I think, is going to be closer than people think it will be. I really do. And in the Giants-Eagles game, man, I love, the coach in New York with the Giants. I think the energy's there with Brian Daboll. I think it's awesome. I think they have some magic right now, but the Eagles are so good. They're so good. And if they're healthy, I don't know. The magic could run out for the Giants.
I'll go with the home teams. No. Yeah, I'll go with the home teams. Chiefs and Eagles to win on Saturday because I got to have some sort of a rub against my guy, Chris Sanford, the big Giants fan down here. By the way, I got to sprinkle in some comments from our viewers. Number 1, Rich in Edmonton says, is that Rod or Elvis? From E. Nordtap, he says, love it, Rod. You're looking like Jerry the King Lawler. From BW in Edmonton, he says, the Cape reminds me of the Johnny Carson skit. Knows the answers in the sealed envelope. I don't know, have you seen those old clips? I don't know, Darren, if you're old enough. From Swerve, he says, the color purple makes me depressed right now. I don't know why that is, and I don't have time to ask. Anyways, this is from Bet Regal, from our guy. Hey, yo, okay, gotcha. From our guy. I was thinking LA Kings. My mind froze. And then Sunday, it's Cincinnati at Buffalo. The Bills favored by 5, and it's Dallas at San Francisco. The 49ers are favored by 3.5. And again, I'm not going to ask you to take the deals or not take the deals. We'll talk about this more tomorrow. But should be some really good games. Those are some classic rivalries right there. Bengals, Bills, Cowboys, 49ers. Some of the greatest Cowboys memories are wins at San Fran in the playoffs. So 6 more hours of football on Sunday. What's your breakdown of those games? And remember, the Bills almost got beat by the Dolphins last week.
I know, but the Bills continue to get better. And I think one thing about the Bills is they always ask Josh Allen to do too much. You know, they call him Superman or whatever they want to call him. And you know, when you're in those games against Miami, sometimes you just need to run the ball. Sometimes you just need to manage the game a little bit better. And they just try and throw the dagger and it turns into a fumble or an interception or some sort of game-changing play to help out an opposition that probably shouldn't be in the football game. So, yeah, do I think Buffalo probably wins this weekend? I still think they're probably a good bet to get to the Super Bowl. But as we looked at some of the odds on, you know, Super Bowl favorites at Bet Regal, the Bengals, for me, are a team right now that are still undervalued. They're not a top 2 team when it comes to the numbers, the odds. I think they have a really good shot to continue to move further in the playoffs and potentially get to the Super Bowl as well.
Mo Egger joining us from ESPN Radio Cincinnati in the next segment. We'll be talking about that. By the way, breaking news as we switch off football, I will just say Nathan Rourke of the Jacksonville Jaguars will be on this program tomorrow. I believe it's in this very time slot, this segment. And lastly, I heard this on the radio yesterday, and I need your help on it, Moose. Is the NBA trash? Because as I was listening to WQAM, which they never, ever talk about the Heat. It's all Dolphins all the time and a little bit about the Panthers. And shockingly, they have the rights to both those teams. I don't think they have the Heat. I don't know enough basketball to say whether the NBA's trash or not. I don't know. You know, I could tell you when the quality of play of pro football is up or down, and certainly hockey, but I can't tell you NBA's trash. If I turn it on, I enjoy what I see, and I don't see a lot different from 20 years ago. How would you answer that? Are they right?
No, I would think the game's changed quite a bit. You know, some things that are a big sticking point with a lot of detractors of the NBA would be the load management that's come into play over the last, you know, few seasons, where you can buy tickets to watch a game and it's supposed to be a marquee matchup and none of the stars play. You look at the Raptors game against the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Bucks didn't dress any of their stars. You know, Giannis wasn't playing, and the other top players for the Bucks weren't playing in that game. And I believe they still won the game. But I think that's part of it where, you know, when you pay money to watch your NFL team, when you pay money to watch your NHL team, outside of injuries, you know the stars are going to be there every game, you know. And in the NBA, that's not the case. And I think that, for me, that would be the one downside of the NBA. But I think the action's still pretty good. I think it's good, and I think it's more wide open kind of than it's been in the last number of years in terms of number of teams that can win a title.
You make a really good point about paying to see the stars and they're not there. And clearly the NBA doesn't care. But I mean, this is on Miami radio. It's not like their team's terrible. Miami's 7th in the conference, 24-21. I mean, if it was the Charlotte Hornets radio announcers saying this league sucks, well, yeah, your team's been terrible forever. But it's not that. I don't know. From time to time, I'm busy watching NHL every night, and if for whatever reason it's not on, then I'll switch to football. I'm not the biggest basketball guy, but I was a little surprised to hear what I heard coming out of the radio. Moose, I'm going to let you roll. I'll see you back here, not for a while, though. Later on in hour 2. What do you say?
I'll see you then.
Yeah, we have a sports update before we bring in our man Mo Egger. The WNBA will be heading north for a preseason game in Canada. The Chicago Sky will face the Minnesota Lynx on May 13th in Toronto in the first WNBA game to be played in the country. This will be the third WNBA preseason game to be played outside of the USA. In 2004, the Detroit Shock and San Antonio Silver Stars met in Monterrey, Mexico, and in 2011, the Atlanta Dream played the Standard Life Great Britain women's basketball team in Manchester, England. There are 5 games in the National Hockey League tonight, with 3 being played in Canada. The Vancouver Canucks, returning home from a 5-game road trip with a 1-game win streak, will host Tampa. The Flames host the Colorado Avalanche. They've won 2 in a row. And the Senators will aim to snap a 2-game losing streak when they host the Pittsburgh Penguins. Raps have a day off before facing the Minnesota Timberwolves on Thursday at the Target Center in Minnie. Sports update for Avatar. In theaters now, Avatar: The Way of Water in landmark cinemas, set more than a decade after the events of the first film. Avatar: The Way of Water begins to tell the story of the Sully family, the trouble that follows them, the lengths they go to keep each other safe, and the battles they fight to stay alive and the tragedies they endure. In theaters now, landmark cinemas. Check it out. Avatar: The Way of Water. We're going to Cincinnati next for a Bills-Bengals preview. It's the RP Show. We're live on Game Plus TV, live streaming on YouTube, of course, and on the radio, WQEE 99.1 FM.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right. It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You've got to check out our all makes, all models, GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG. Always delivering the best fan experience.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445. 888-900-3395.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now back to the studio with Rod.
Hey, great to be with you in this business. It's great to be anywhere, as you know. We're live on Game Plus TV, YouTube, and WQEE Radio. It's been far too long since we've had our dude Mo Egger on from ESPN Radio Cincinnati. As a matter of fact, last time we chatted, he was in Hawaii. Looks like he made it home safely. What's up, Big Mo?
Where did your robe go? When I logged in, you were wearing like King Harley Race's robe. Where'd that thing go? You were like sitting on a throne. You needed a crown. Where'd it go?
Just off the side of the set. The segment's over, dude. For Bet Regal, we've moved on from the NHL top 5, bottom 5. It'll probably make an appearance tomorrow. How are you, brother? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. I'm doing great. You had my Columbus Blue Jackets as the worst team in the NHL, and I can't argue against that.
Sorry, as they say. Man, how far is Columbus from where you are situated right now? Do you ever go?
100 miles. Yeah, you can. I go to a game or two a year. It's a lot of fun up there. We thought the team was going to be a lot better, but you can, from where I sit right now, you can get to a game in an hour and a half.
Okay, cool. Just don't go now. Wait until they're good, and that might be a while. Dude, I thought of you. I think of you often, but I thought of you the night of the DeMar Hamlin situation because you go to most Bengals games. Were you there, by the way?
Yeah. Yes.
Just go back to that for a minute before we talk about the Bengals and Bills this weekend. What was it like that night in that facility in Cincy?
Bizarre, sad, confusing. You know, being in the stadium, you just didn't have, in the stands, you just didn't have the access to the same sort of information that maybe others watching at home did. And you're kind of getting secondhand information from people, and you're looking at social media, and you're not sure what's real and what's not. But when I walked out of that stadium that night, I thought to myself, I may have just watched someone die playing professional football. Relative to where most of us were that night to now, we're talking about DeMar Hamlin maybe being at the game on Sunday. He was discharged from the hospital within a week. It is terrific. But that night was just confusing and more than anything, just really sad. I mean, most of us walked out of that stadium thinking we had just watched someone die. And fortunately, thanks to the incredible life-saving techniques employed by the people who did their jobs and did them to perfection, DeMar is still with us, and that's terrific.
When did you make the decision to go home? When they officially called the game, or did you go a little earlier than that, or when did you leave?
I left when they officially called it because I really admittedly selfishly, for what I do for a living, I wanted to be able to convey what it was like to leave the stadium once fans were told the game was called. And I will admit to you that I did so with some trepidation. I was in college in 1996. The Cincinnati Reds, on opening day, John McSherry, the home plate umpire, passed away on the field, had a heart attack after just 7 pitches. And I was in the stands that day, and it was ugly. Fans were upset. And I wanted to really see how folks would react and respond when the official word came down that the game wasn't going to happen. And I was pleasantly surprised. You go back to that day, Bengals-Bills, huge game, warm day in Cincinnati, festive atmosphere. I'm thinking, you got folks who have been drinking and partying all day. They're not going to react well to this. And instead, I think folks just kind of nodded their heads. I think most people really didn't want to see football at that point. I think there was a sense of, well, if they do play, I want to see what that's like. But it was abundantly clear to me, at least, the moment that Zach Taylor crossed over from his sideline over to midfield to talk to Buffalo's head coach, Sean McDermott, there was going to be no football played. But I just wanted to capture what happened when the game was officially postponed and obviously ultimately canceled. I wanted to gauge everybody's reaction, and everybody's reaction, to me at least, was one of understanding.
Well, so far the best possible outcome, as you pointed out. DeMar going to be at the game, has been discharged from hospital. Listen, not to sound callous, Bengals Bills shook it off. I guess they won playoff games on the weekend, narrowly so in the case of the Bills. So, what is your take on this weekend's match? You knew these two teams were going to come head to head at some point, and here it is.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I mean, look, go back a couple of weeks ago. These two teams were supposed to play with a lot riding on that game, right? Cincinnati and Buffalo. You were talking about two double-digit win teams, both likely to win their divisions, and Buffalo's case having already clinched. Two A-list quarterbacks, two teams that you thought could meet in a couple of weeks. Well, here we are a couple of weeks later after that game wasn't played. It's the Bengals and Bills, and I think both teams left question marks about their championship bona fides based on how they played this past weekend. For Cincinnati, another offensive lineman injured in Jonah Williams. They're likely going to play on Sunday with three backups on the offensive line. They have not been able to run the football. And defensively, for as opportunistic as this team has been on defense now for a while, they couldn't stop the run. From a Buffalo perspective, I'm going up against an opportunistic Cincinnati defense with a quarterback who, for all of his talent, still makes a lot of mistakes. Josh Allen led the NFL in giveaways. And I tend to think the game is going to come down to that. Joe Burrow, and you and I talked about this last year leading up to the Super Bowl. We were both in Los Angeles. Joe Burrow stopped turning the football over midway through last season. When he commits a turnover, it's usually the result of something kind of beyond his control, like a tip pass at the line of scrimmage. So he's going to be under a lot of duress. He's going to take a lot of hits. He's probably going to get some sacks, or he's probably going to get sacked, I should say. You know that. Do those things turn into interceptions and fumbles? If the answer is no, the onus, I think, flips to Josh Allen. Josh Allen is mistake prone. Now, within the mistakes, there's a whole bunch of stuff you really like. Stephon Diggs is going to be a handful. When Josh Allen makes a mistake, does Cincinnati's defense capitalize? And at what stage in the game does that happen? I think that's what Sunday comes down to.
You're fired up, man. You've been doing this for a long time. It must be nice to be covering a team that actually is playing meaningful games this time of year.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. That hasn't been the norm here. So, usually we get to January and we're not even talking about the draft because we've been talking about it for 2 months already. It's kind of on to the next. It's lamenting who should get fired, that sort of thing. So, no, it's been refreshing to talk about a team being in contention, and this team has been awfully fun to talk about for the last 2 years. They've been awfully fun to root for. They've been awfully fun to engage people with. They have a really likable bunch, and it's fun here in town. Cincinnati. There had been prior to last year no major professional sports advancement in the postseason since 1995. The Bengals hadn't won a playoff game since 1990. So to be back in the postseason consecutive years, to see the Bengals win playoff games in consecutive years, which had never happened in the franchise's history, and for the good times to seemingly just being underway now, has created an optimism that I think is infectious, and from my standpoint, professionally and personally, is a ton of fun.
Jen, we love Jen from the Four Seasons Sports Palace. She's like, lovely preview, Mo, but who's going to win? Bengals or Buffs? She wants to know. Or Bills. Who do you have winning?
So gambling is a big part of what we do on our show here. It's fun to talk about games through that filter. There is a difference between a pick and a wager. I wouldn't wager on this game. I think this is a coin flip game. If you said you have to wager one way or the other, I'll take the team that's getting the points. My pick is Cincinnati for the reasons I just outlined. I trust Joe Burrow, despite the offensive line issues. And the Bengals' MO in the postseason, I think it continues. They've had 5 straight playoff games, including the Super Bowl, which they lost, that have come down to the last play. Think about that. 5 consecutive playoff games have come down to the last play. This game feels like a coin flip, feels like it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. Cincinnati's defense has demonstrated an ability to make the play it needs at precisely the right time against a quarterback who I think is going to make a mistake I think Cincinnati's defense comes up big in the fourth quarter, and I'm putting my trust in the quarterback who doesn't turn it over. I think Cincinnati wins a really good game and advances to take on. Rod, are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Jacksonville.
Oh, another upset. You've convinced me that the Bengals are going to win because the Dolphins almost beat Buffalo last week. They have Josh Allen's number. Jags to win. Oh, man, I love it. We are out of time, but Mo, let's do this more. Appreciate you, my man. Enjoy the games. Thanks for the time.
Okay, Rod. Thanks, man. Good to see you as always.
ESPN Cincinnati Radio's Mo Wager. We'll be right back with a viewer takeover. Next hour, the sports doctor, Dave Patrician and Rich Sutter. It's the RP Show live on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and the radio, WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right. Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models, GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Hi, everybody. The robe, the Bet Regal robe, has been very popular. I put it away until tomorrow, but I might have to bust it out next hour.
Loving it,
as Jim Lang would say. I've already read the sports update. So let's do a viewer takeover here right now. Here's what they're saying out there. Regarding the robe, Ward in Winnipeg writes in, and he says, all Rod needs is a candelabra to go with the Liberace outfit. See if we can find one. Chris in Heidelberg, Ontario, says, the Great Karnak 2.0. What is that? Do you guys know back there in the Millennium Falcon? What's Karnak 2.0? I don't know. Chris says from Heidelberg, Ontario, in 1991, I was a student manager trainer for Grand River High School in Kitchener. We were walking into an arena for a game when our starting goalie collapsed. A couple of people in front of me in line. He went VSA. I don't even know what that is, man. We did CPR on him and got his heart started again, although it took 6.5 minutes. Unfortunately, he never regained consciousness and passed away. It's something I'll obviously never forget. And I could relate to the emotions of the players. He's talking about Damar Hamlin, obviously. I don't even want to think about the rushes that I've had. I was calling a game, though, at Taylor Field, and the guy had a heart attack 4 rows down from the press box. I saw him. They carted him out. That wasn't good. Let's talk about happy things. Jerry's watching in New Brunswick, and he's written back on the 902 line. He was talking about Ivan Provorov, the subject of our poll question today. Okay. Here's Jerry. He's writing in as we go. How about this? He goes, I'm impressed you got my last name right. First try. Jerry Phoebe. Spelled Pheby. All these people, what do you got, Tuna? Yeah, I figured. 90 seconds are left. Tuna's in for producer Clark, and he's doing a bang-up job. We got all these new viewers out there, Eastern Canada and the Maritimes. What's your cable, Jerry? Is it Eastlink? So they don't know that I broadcast 20 years in the Canadian Football League, 20 years in the Western Hockey League. Names are my thing, trying to get them right. And Jerry writes back to say, Johnny Carson, Karnak. And he goes, I'm sorry, I'm on a delay. Last minute of play in hour 1. We have I think we're going to have our first U.S. sponsor. I'm quite excited about it. Maybe we'll kick this around next hour. They wanted to know how big we were in Eastern Canada. Jerry, go tell all your friends. Jerry, go stand on a street corner in Gallagher Ridge, New Brunswick, and tell them everybody watch the Rod Pedersen Show, because some of these South Florida businesses want to market to people in Eastern Canada. How about that? And they sit there and wonder what we're doing and how we're doing it. But everybody's watching. They don't know where we're going, but we do. We're going to talk about all these things. John Ohm in Winnipeg. Ohm says that robe represents the king of sports talk. I like it. Thank you, Terry in Calgary. We'll get it all after this break. Stick around, everybody.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.99% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Hashtag dad advice from Jim Pedersen, my dad, who said, cheer as loud as you want for your own team. Don't ever boo the other team. Don't ever boo the other team. And to boo your own team? Unthinkable. In the world of James William Pedersen. So, A, I would never do it. B, with the cost of those things? Are you kidding me?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. It's hour 2 of your favorite daytime sports and entertainment talk show. We're coming to you live on Game Plus Television. We're live streaming on YouTube as always and on the radio, WQEE. And this is a day whereby I got to tell our listeners in Metro Atlanta that you got to somehow find a screen, whether it be YouTube or Game Plus TV. This robe has been very popular today. With the boys and girls at Bet Regal shipped this down to me in South Florida, and it's only supposed to be for Bet Regal Bits when we make our picks, which incidentally, 6 for 6 right here on picks last weekend, NFL wildcard weekend. I don't know, I might end up wearing this thing all the time. And people are writing in saying Karnak, Johnny Carson, and I've only seen photos. Can we bring in the sports doctor, Dave Patrician's in Winnipeg, where we're very big on Game Plus Television, Bell MTS Cable. How you doing, David? Happy New Year, brother.
Thank you. I think you got more of a Jerry the King Lawler vibe going on with that robe, though.
Okay. Well, they said they're trying to find a crown, and they're like, where do you get a crown? When we find one, we'll send it to you. I'm like, Burger King? But they want to send like a real crown. Yeah. Ken Friedman, lastly, he's watching in Toronto. He says, if they switch screen positions, Moose can be Ed McMahon and hand Rod the envelope. Hey, everybody. Weed and Wrestling writing in, watching. Says, afternoon, Rod, from the Icebox in Calgary. I'm sure it is cold up there. We brought David here to talk sports, the sports doctor. What's the radio station you're on up there, David? You still doing that?
103.5. Yeah, 103.5 Capital FM in Iqaluit, Nunavut. I am the morning host there. It's Nunavut's most listened to radio station.
I love it. Remember, I don't know where we were. You were showing me all your radio gear. That was Grey Cup, actually, 2015. I mentioned 6 for 6 I was on picks last week, including the upsets wild card weekend. I had your Vikings losing to the New York Giants. I'm sorry. Did you see that coming? What was your take on that game there in Minnie?
The defense has struggled mightily all year. You can't spot teams the kind of points that they were doing, like the Indianapolis game on December the 17th, and expect to win in playoffs. And everyone knows the defense wins championships, and you could not stop the New York Giants at all on that wild card game at US Bank Stadium. So the 13-4 season just ended so in such a disappointing way. Nothing seemed to go right. It kind of reminded me of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Toronto Argonauts in Regina back in November as well. Like, there's just all the great success you can have during the season just didn't pay off worth beans in that playoff game, and it's so disappointing because you have the full house and in Minneapolis, and everybody had those such high expectations, but the Giants got that job done. The Giants are a good football team.
Daniel Jones looks like a completely different player at quarterback. And by the way, I just learned Brian Daboll, the head coach of the Giants, is from Welland, Ontario, the same hometown as Paul Bissonnette, Biznasty. Did you know Brian Daboll was Canadian? I feel ashamed that I didn't know that. No,
did not know.
Look it up, everybody. By the way, just to finish this, from Weed and Wrestling, that's his name. He says, now I feel like a fool whining about Calgary if this guest is from Nunavut. You're not from Nunavut, but you're on the radio in Nunavut. Should we explain or just move on?
Yeah. It's just a little secret, right? I'm not actually there, but no, I'm in Winnipeg. Yeah. And that's, Calgary might think they're Weed and Wrestling. He might be think they're the wrestling capital of the world, but they're not. Winnipeg is the wrestling capital of Canada anyway, with Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Don Callis, all being main eventers on AEW, which is coming to Canada Life Center on March the 14th, by the way.
They going to sell it out?
They're going to have a good crowd. It's tough to sell out 13,000 tickets in this kind of economy and the prices that they charge for events, but they'll get a robust 8,000 people. It'll look great on television.
I feel like, David, we have a lot to get to and not a ton of time, although I'm grateful that you're here for a longer segment. I won't go NFL yet right now, unless you have any other thoughts before I switch over to the Jets, a little CFL, and more. Do you have any more on the National Football League?
No, I just, it was very, very, I was watching the Peyton and Eli feed on Monday night on the Buccaneers Cowboys game. And I got to tell you, if anybody hasn't experienced that, that's a great way to watch a football game with those two guys. And they were bringing in guys like brought in Deion Sanders for a little while and stuff. It's just a fascinating look at watching these two guys who played and won Super Bowls and played such a high level, watching and dissecting the game and just watching them. It's kind of like when you watch Tony Romo on CBS, how he basically, as the quarterback lines up and he sees the alignment of the teams, he knows what the play is. It's like watching Peyton and Eli calling that. It was fascinating, and watching Brett Favre miss all those singles too. It was very entertaining. That's for sure.
I guess it would be. I mean, I'm not a fan of any of that, and for that reason, I actually keep my mouth shut, which we're thinking maybe Ivan Provorov should have. That's our poll question, which I'll get to in a second here. But I don't like Romo jumping all over Jim Nance's play-by-play. And I'm a Cowboys fan, as you know. So it's like, Tony, if you knew pre-snap all along what's going on, why didn't you do it with the Cowboys? Maybe you'd have won a Super Bowl or even a playoff game, for one. For two, if I wanted to watch a game with former football guys, I would watch it with former football guys. Dave, you've done it a million times. I'm surprised you love that as much. The poll question today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center, by the way, is whose side are you on in the Ivan Provorov situation. The Philadelphia Flyers defenseman, former Brandon Wheating, refused to take warm-up last night because the Flyers were wearing LGBTQ community jerseys and rainbow tape on his stick. Afterwards, he said, hey, I respect them, but I'm not going to be part of it. I have to stand by my religion. Last I saw on what, Tuna, do we have a result on YouTube? On Twitter, the majority are supporting Ivan Provorov. I'm not even going to ask your opinion on this, Dave. It was just interesting on that, but it's a nice segue to hockey. 49% for Provorov. The other options are Provorov, NHL, or undecided. And so far, the majority are voting for Ivan Provorov. But the Jets lost in Montreal last night 4-1. What's that going like in the Slurpee capital today?
Well, last week they lost on Tuesday night to Detroit. So Tuesday obviously is not the night for fighting for these guys. They got a big road swing. They've got the Toronto Maple Leafs tomorrow night in Toronto. They travel to Ottawa on Saturday. They got a game on Philadelphia on Sunday, and then the road trip keeps going against Nashville. So there was speculation. I was listening to John Shannon today, and he said maybe they were looking ahead to the Leafs game and thought the Montreal game was a bit of a blow-off. But when you're playing in a city with such a rich hockey history, you can't afford to take a day off, no matter which state of the Montreal Canadiens are in. It's a rabid fan base. There was over 21,000 people last night there. And it's just embarrassing to get spanked 4-1 by any team in this day of parity in the National Hockey League. We watched them pick themselves off the ground last week after they fell flat in their face against Detroit and, played well against Buffalo. Didn't have the greatest game, I would think, against Arizona on Sunday. But they really look good on Friday against the Pittsburgh Penguins. So it's one of those ones where it's, will the real Winnipeg Jets please stand up? But the team has the talent. It has a great head coach now. Nothing not said that it never had a good coach, but Rick Bowness really seems to get a lot out of these guys. But man, did they fall on their face bad yesterday.
Just about every team can say that except for the Boston Bruins, to be honest with you. And by the way, don't mind me, we get a lot of action going on in Boca Raton here apparently today. Whoa. Now you got your Blue Bomber hoodie on, Dave. You must be sitting back watching the goings-on of the CFL this offseason with your feet up like any Bomber fan and like, ho hum, here we are, 3 straight Grey Cups, no drama, no question. You got your coach signed, Mike O'Shea. Is it boring over there in Winnipeg?
I don't know if it's boring. I mean, I like the steady stream of people being re-signed. It's so exciting to see that people want to play. What a different culture it is now in this day of people, free agents just moving willy-nilly wherever they want to go. Now these guys just really want to play for Mike O'Shea, the organization. They like Winnipeg. They like the city, and they like what they've built. So you're not seeing these guys, signing with other teams because they just didn't like it. Guys that do, take a paycheck with a couple of more dollars on it, they seem to always come back to Winnipeg as well too. We watched that near the end of the year. Disappointing end of the year last November in Regina, but I think this team is built for a long term. The guys that are coming up, these guys that we have the superstars, the Willie Jeffersons, the Jeff Goats, Stanley Bryants, all these guys that want to keep coming back. Zach Collaros, right? All these guys are making their home, not making their home necessarily, but adopting Winnipeg as their home. And we're going to see some great things next season on the field. And the stability in the organization with the coaching staff, general manager, all these things, the ownership group, the people in the front office, it's fantastic.
It's interesting, by the way, the Bombers are kind of a case study in sticking with your people. And you know what I'm talking about, or second chances. Kyle Walters could have fired O'Shea. The football people still talk about it. He stuck with them, and look how it turned out. They signed Zach Collaros when idiots like yours truly thought his career was over. Look how that turned out, right? Some of the viewers have some questions for you, by the way. Jason in Red Deer wants to know just what you're hearing amongst your football guys. If you think Bo will sign in Hamilton, and does that pave the way for Dane Evans to Saskatchewan? Anything happening in your rumor mill that way?
I mean, that's what you're saying about Evans landing up in Regina on your 10 weekend things column. I found that very interesting. If I was Hamilton, I would want to sign Bo Levi Mitchell. I think Bo Levi Mitchell is a proven winner. I think that his personality fits in well with that city of Hamilton. Not to take anything away from Evans, like a good quarterback, but I think when you have a chance to get a star like him and be a part of the organization, I think you have to grab it. I think that's in my mind, that's the best CFL fit for Bo Levi Mitchell is the Hamilton Ticats.
By the way, you mentioned the disappointment of the Grey Cup. I meant to say I was on Winnipeg Sports Talk with your boy Hustler, and he was down in the dumps. And his guy Remus about that. I'm like, you guys were a blocked field goal away from winning the game. You understand that?
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, it's disappointing when your team loses. It always is. But there's no shame in it. Wasn't like you get throttled. It wasn't like it was a Tampa Bay Buccaneer performance on Monday night. It was a hard fought game. There was both team had the challenges. When I was sitting up in the stands in pregame warmups, I really thought the very similar to the 2019 Grey Cup in Calgary. I thought the Bombers were focused. I thought the workouts and the drills they were running, and you know, you looked over to the Toronto sidelines, and it looked a lot looser and not as organized. Let's just say that. And I really thought we're going to come out of the gates just like we did in 2019 in Calgary. But you know, they didn't have that great start. There was the offense that just wasn't clicking, and a lot of holes in their game as well, and then some curious play calling. But again, no shot. Like that's the championship game. You got there for the third time in a row. There's no shame in that. And I think we're going to be back for the fourth time in a row. And we will be in Hamilton to take on Bo Levi, perhaps, and the Hamilton Ticats.
Did you, by the way, have fun at that Grey Cup in the Queen City?
You know, from the very first Grey Cup in 1995 in Regina, and I think it was 2003 was the next one. I skipped the one in 2013, but Regina puts on a tremendous Grey Cup. From little things like shuttles from all the East End hotels, to everything kind of being under in one roof except the Spirit of Edmonton. I think the people, the venues, Saskatchewan is football focused. Everywhere you go, there's something going on with football. When you go to a Grey Cup in Toronto or Vancouver or Montreal, you know, there's a blend of you put your gear on at the culture. On Friday, we went to Gulf Steakhouse on Saturday night and sat with Joyce Murphy at our table and Leo Ezrins and stuff. We had just such a great time in Regina. They do such a great job at Grey Cup.
Yeah, we know football. David, so do you. Enjoy the wrestling. Thanks for the time. My best to Karen, and keep in touch, buddy. All the best in 2023.
Thanks, Rod, and thanks for having me on.
You bet. From Capital FM in Nunavut, the sports doctor, Dave, the sports doctor in Winnipeg. And we're going to Alberta next. We're going to talk all NHL with Rich Sutter, 13-year NHL veteran, broadcast veteran. When we return, it's the RP Show. We are live on Game Plus Television, Bell MTS Cable in Manitoba, SaskTel Max in Saskatchewan, TELUS, Channel 924 in Alberta and BC. YouTube Live, of course, and on the radio, WQEE 99.1 FM.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics, Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.99% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Laid back and kicking it. Let's head back to the studio. Here's Rod.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the RP Show, and we're live on Game Plus Television. And boy, we covered a lot of ground here in hour two. I will update the poll question today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center. Whose side are you on in the Ivan Provorov situation? The Philadelphia Flyers defenseman and former Brandon Weeking refusing to take warm-up last night. I'm just for the Flyers because it was their pro-LGBTQ community night. 57% of you saying you're on Provorov's side, 24% saying you're on the NHL side, 19% saying you're undecided, and I voted in the undecided. We have to agree to disagree sometimes, and that's where I get the Provorov thing. On the other, I'm about inclusivity, and I'm pro-LGBT. So anyways, vote on it. It's a free world, and away we go. We're talking hockey now with our good friend Rich Sutter, Lethbridge, Alberta product, Viking product in Lethbridge, 13-year NHL veteran. How you doing, Richie? What's the good word?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. When are you going to come down here and watch some hockey with me?
Actually, I'm coming down February 2nd for 3 nights.
Okay. Well, so hey, NHL All-Star Weekend. Can't wait. It's going to be fantastic. I don't really know where to start. You're sitting there in hockey mad Alberta, the hotbed. Flames in Colorado tonight. Let's start there. What's your take on this, on both those hockey clubs that are going to meet in the Saddledome tonight?
Well, they're both trending in the right direction. I think this is a game where Calgary has to be. I wouldn't say you got to be very careful because it's a bit of a trap game when you come home off a long road trip. Those first games home are very difficult. Fortunately, I think they've got Colorado in their wheelhouse tonight in a sense where they know they've got to be ready to play. So that I think that will help them. At least I would hope it would. I love the coach's comments in Calgary yesterday when he was asked by members of the local media about what they felt about Colorado being in the rearview mirror and right there and chasing for a wild card spot. And the response was, well, we don't really look at Calgary as a wild card team or a team that's chasing us. We look at a team that is a Stanley Cup champion and that will finish in the top 3 in their division with half a season left to get that going. So, I think they're thinking right. They have to be thinking right to give themselves a legitimate shot tonight. Colorado's getting healthy. They're starting to score some goals, and they're starting to get their mojo back.
We've just passed the halfway point, and some good teams are going to miss the playoffs, Rich. They always do, right? I'm not going to ask you who they're going to be, but do you not feel now, past the halfway point, the margin for error now is very slim, and teams almost got to keep the hammer down the rest of the way, don't you think?
We've been saying this for the last 3-4 years, Rod, that you look at the halfway point and then you start to look, with 30 games left, 20 games left, and the value of points every night, the value of beating teams just not directly behind you, but the need to beat teams that are in front of you. Bonus points are not bonus points anymore, just with the teams that you're playing to beat out of a playoff spot or the teams in the other conference. Every point is a bonus. You have to have them all. You at least have to be mentally prepared to scratch and fight and claw for them all. Look, I think these are, if you're not thinking desperate hockey and thinking playoff mindset hockey this time of the year, when you're on the bubble, then you're simply not going to make it. The value of every night, every day, every second point, the second point is huge.
For sure. And we had Peter Labardius on here last week. We were talking about loser points. And he said the year that the Flames, when they had, the bubble year, the All-Canadian division, they only had 3 loser points all year, right? And shoot, they picked up a bunch on this last road trip, And I guess you're so close to Calgary. Your brother coaches the team. They had the 6-1 lead at Dallas on Saturday. I was listening to it and had to hold on for a 6-5 win. Clearly, Calgary could be a lot better. Are they going to be?
Well, I thought they were really good. I thought, Rod, for 39 minutes and 9 seconds. And sometimes you get that far ahead in a game, you can tend to take your foot off the pedal, which they did mentally and physically. And yes, Dallas got some bounces, but at the end of the day, 2 points is 2 points, and get out of Dallas and get on to the next one.
Well, and I guess I don't know how you're watching all the games, obviously. This is a vastly different Flames team than a year ago. I guess my question for you is, what's possible, do you think, for this team? Despite their problems, they're still in a playoff spot. You think they nudge their way into the top 3 before all said and done?
I think they got a shot for sure. They still do. If your staff and coaches are thinking that the teams behind you or one team behind you doesn't, you certainly do within your own division as well. The biggest thing is, look, they made a lot of changes, and there was a lot of internal changes from a chemistry standpoint in that locker room that are simply not easy just to turn the switch on and go. Yes, there's been some struggles in that with one of the goalies, but at the end of the day, the comments where their target was at Christmas time, where their target was at this time of the year was to be in the playoff hunt. Yes, it would be great to be comfortable in second or third in the division, whatever it was. Look, they're not that far behind, but at the end of the day, they're being realistic and knowing that it's about hitting their stride and hitting it at the right time. You're starting to see definite signs of that happening in the last 10 to 12 games. Look, the target on their back was not put on their back by themselves because of all the big changes, and they thought that Tree hit home runs with the deals, with what happened with Gaudreau and Tkachuk this summer and how they had to replace those guys. Look, you go into every year, look, we got to make the playoffs. We got to play well come mid-April. And at the end of the day, the status or where this team was pegged to be put was not, or pegged to be, was not by themselves. It was by the media. And that's where this is all generating from. People need to back off. People need to quit overreacting. Look, this is the NHL. The margin of error to win every night is so ridiculously tight. You said there's going to be really good teams that don't make the playoffs, and you just hope that one of your teams is the teams that you're cheering for is in. And I think Calgary's hitting. They're starting to hit their stride at the right time. Colorado's starting to. You look up north. Edmonton's won 4 in a row. I think the best thing could happen to Calgary and Edmonton is that they're looking at Colorado and going, they're playing better, they're getting healthy. We need to get going, and I think you're starting to see a little bit of urgency in these teams' games and their teams play.
Great explanation and analysis. And by the way, and as you know, we are on the radio in Metro Atlanta. The Flames are their former teams. They're following it very closely. And what the American people don't understand, Rich, Alberta, hockey mad, just like they are about football down here. At some point, it's like, enough. Can we stop? Can we talk about something else? As you said, back off. But they won't. And in Alberta, they know hockey. I mean, my last thing about the Flames, they know this is a good team, right? They think that they should.
Well, yeah,
and that's all.
And the funny about it, you got to remember, like, when decisions are being made within organizations, good organizations make decisions by listening to people around them within their group, and before decisions are made, who they put in the lineup, who's not in the lineup, how their structure is, how they play. It's a daily thing. It comes from a group. It comes from within the group. Good teams, smart teams listen to what their players are also thinking and feeling at times as well. So these teams are figuring that out, and that's what they do. And I laugh. You listen to all the outside noise and talk about this and talk about that guy's not playing, or that guy's not playing. Like, come on. I mean, like, I don't know how that guy in downtown Calgary runs his oil company, but I do know one thing a little about hockey. And I don't know how you do your job, Rod, but I know you're damn good at it. And so I'm not going to question it.
I appreciate, hey, and you never have. I appreciate that. And by the way, we will be back there at Grey Eagle in March, Richie, and can't wait to have you in the seat right beside me. Now, kind of the other end of the spectrum is the Winnipeg Jets. #1 team in the West, most wins in the division. They're for real now, right? Like, what your thoughts on the Jets?
Look, first of all, the coaching change, I think a different voice was what was more or less was needed by the group. And that's not a knock on Paul. Paul's a terrific coach. And just maybe a different voice, but also, Rick comes in. He can be an animated guy. He can be a guy that can get in front of players, which I like. He's honest with players, no different than Paul. Maybe he's taken the leash off some of these guys a little bit more and let them play a little bit more. And they've gone out and certainly have responded. Hellebuck is back for the most part, with the exception of maybe the odd goal or two here in the last week. But look, their group is back. They're relatively healthy again in terms of their go-to guys, their core guys. I like what they're doing. It's hard not to watch them, hard not to be a fan of how they're playing. And at this point, where I'm at, I love being a fan and learning and watch as many games as I can every night, which drives my wife Rhonda nuts. But it keeps me in the loop. I want to get back in the game. I don't want to distract from the question, but I know I've got tons to offer with my experience and knowledge for a team. But when I keep looking at, I watch these teams play, and I look at things differently than maybe the fan would about how they're playing, what they're doing, why certain guys doing this, why their power play is doing that, trends, tendencies within their groups. It's fun. It's fun to watch them play.
Of course, by the way, Ted in Arizona wants to know if you ever had any interest in coaching in the NHL. And I have one more question before we let you go. So I assume if you wanted to coach, you'd be doing it.
Rod, obviously that would have been a great thing. The biggest thing is, we've all been kind of team builders, our family, in one way or another with whoever we've worked for or with. I saw late in my career with a very young family, and it's not disrespect for knock my older brothers, but the amount of time at the time that they were missing certain things with their little ones at home. And it's not that I felt that if I was going to make my mark in the game, that was going to be the same way or not. But at the end of the day, I had an opportunity, a very unique opportunity, before the year 2000 hit, and that was coming off two great and experienced times with Brian Murray and Pat Quinn with Team Canada, the World Men's Championships, and the unique opportunity to be hired or try to be hired as one of the team builders of the Minnesota Wild. And there was hundreds of people lined up to get one of those jobs. I was very fortunate to be interviewed at least once and to get a job to be a team builder and of a National Hockey League franchise. It taught me so much about business, about hockey, about how it overlapped with each other. And that's where I felt that's been my mainstream for years, and where I feel I still got that much more to give to an organization.
Well, there's your answer, Ted. Not necessarily coaching. And lastly, we got about 90 seconds. You talk about watching all the games. Did you watch the Leafs and Panthers last night? Because I did. It was a war. Yes. I loved it. What'd you think?
Well, that's how we want to play this time of the year. I mean, you tell it's teams fighting for points, and I hope to see that you're going to see more of that in the games to come. The urgency to fight for your points instead of being a nice guy for half the game. I think that's going to be enough to win hockey. So I hope to see more and more of that every night.
Yeah, it was a fantastic hockey game. Didn't like the ending, of course. The Leafs came back and felt the officials had a little of a hand in that, but it is what it is. Hey, listen, I don't ever want to let you go. What's your quick WHL take on the arms race that's gone down and where we're at?
Well, you know, I watch it every night. I watch the divisions and how the conferences sit out every night or 4 nights a week when they play. You know, Seattle just finished their trip out east. Portland just finished their trips out east. You know, they're basically 1-2 in the divisions out there in the conferences out west. Kamloops is reloaded with Zellweger. Seattle is loaded themselves. Portland's kind of the dark horse there. But when you look in the Eastern Conference, you know, Winnipeg loaded up, but I'm not giving anything to Winnipeg just yet. Yeah, they're first in the East, first in the Eastern Division, first in the conference. Red Deer did not make any moves because they felt that they're right there as well. They don't want to hurt their team moving forward in terms of their assets for next year. And I think what Red Deer just might have that will give them a legitimate shot to come out of the East is the return of Ben King here in the next week. So basically, them getting Ben King back, who led the league in scoring and goals last year, at this time of the year is like bringing in a big guy at the trade deadline. So, look, there's good teams, and it's junior hockey. You just don't know how it plays out. These are still young men, and if you're not sharp and not mentally into it for 3 or 4 nights, come the 3rd week of March, you're out in a hurry. Doesn't matter how good you are.
Well, we're going to be back in Alberta just in time for it all. Rich, wonderful update. Thanks for your support, man. Enjoy the hockey, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. Let's make a plan.
Rich Sutter joining us from Lethbridge, Alberta. Sports update coming up, plus the Moose for overtime. It is the RP Show, and we are live on Game Plus TV, YouTube live streaming, and the radio, WQEE 99.1 FM.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Casino.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models, GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yeah, it is. It's been yard maintenance day and tree trimming day and sirens day. But at least we didn't get knocked off the air today because of a power outage. So what the hey? Just roll with it. I'm sure it's for our podcast listeners and radio listeners. It's been very interesting. What do you think, Ryan O'Radio? He's riding shotgun with us in Noonan, Georgia. I got a sports update here, and it's going to be great. But I will update the poll question here for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center. I think our boss, Darren Moose DuPont, would be very impressed that we've done a really good job of staying out of trouble here today on this Ivan Provorov situation. The poll question is, whose side are you on in the Ivan Provorov situation? Capital Auto Mall brings you the daily poll. They have dealerships all across the Canadian prairies and the state of California. For those that don't know, the Philadelphia Flyers defenseman did not participate in warm-up for the Philly Flyers Tuesday night because it was their pro-LGBTQ night. They were wearing pride jerseys and rainbow tape on their sticks. He's like, I don't support it because of my Russian Orthodox Church beliefs. And that was it. The majority of people saying they stand with Provorov. The next is that's like 49%, 25% saying they're with the NHL, who's pro-pride. And that's a whole other topic for another day. And then the rest, whatever the math works out to, is undecided. And that's kind of where I am. The guy's got to be allowed to stick to his beliefs. I just don't like the non-inclusivity part of it. Anyways, Phil in Dauphin, Manitoba is watching on Game Plus TV, and he says, good day, it's hump day. I miss the days when sticking to your beliefs didn't get you into trouble. I'll be watching your Take It or Leave It segment tomorrow because with my picks this past weekend, I was clearly better off letting Stevie Wonder make my picks. Hashtag long live the king. So he's a Stevie Wonder fan. We'll just leave it there. My robe's over there. He's talking about the Deal or No Deal segment with Moose tomorrow. What do you want Moose's opinion for? I was the one that was 6 for 6 last week, and it just kind of came to me. But I'm not sure I want the pressure of being the guy that makes your NFL picks or any picks for that matter. They literally just came to me. It's not coming to me immediately, but I haven't put a lot of thought into it either. This weekend's NFL divisional games. Saturday, Jacksonville at the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 8.5 at Bet Regal. New York Giants at Philadelphia Eagles in the night game Saturday. Eagles favored by 7.5. Sunday, Cincinnati at Buffalo. The Bills are favored by 5. And Mo Egger was on with us last hour from ESPN Cincinnati, picking the Bengals to win. I'm not sure that he's non-biased, though. And the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, are at San Francisco. 49ers favored by 3.5. And maybe I just haven't put enough thought into it yet. It's only Wednesday. But I had the Cowboys to win at Tampa, and that was a tough one to pick because I really love Tom Brady. But we got it. Anyway, sports update. On this Wednesday, looking back in the dub, Braden Yager scored into an empty net with 67 seconds left in the third period. Ryder Korzak had 2 assists, and the Moose Jaw Warriors defeated the visiting Saskatoon Blades 3-1 in the Western Hockey League. In Medicine Hat, the Tigers erupted for 3 goals in the first period, then coasted to a 5-2 win over the visiting Prince George Cougars. There were only 2 games. Has anybody heard from my cousin Christine, by the way, in Medicine Hat? She hasn't checked in on the program here for some time. In the dub tonight, Winnipeg's at PA. The Moose Jaw Warriors are at Saskatoon. Medicine Hat is at Swift Current. Prince George is at Calgary. Lethbridge is at Everett. Victoria is at Tri-City. Mentioning the dub scores, in the O last night, London thumped Kitchener 7-3, and Barrie beat Owen Sound 6-5 in overtime. We haven't forgot about you, O. And speaking of the Brampton Honey Badgers, dropped a 106-90 decision to Mexican team Libertadores. Libertadores on Tuesday to open the second window of the 2023 Basketball Champions League Americas in Managua, Nicaragua. The Honey Badgers finished with 6 players in double figures, but they were unable to slow now they're doing it to me again, the Libertadores down once they got going. Josh Ibarra and Steve Taylor Jr. finished with 15 points each. And Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers believes he can still produce at an MVP level in the right situation if he opts to play next season. The 4-time NFL MVP says he hasn't decided whether to return to Green Bay, retire, or ask for a trade. He says he didn't know whether the Packers would represent the ideal situation for him. God, now we're going to be hearing about that all winter. I'm already sick of it. This sports update is brought to you by Babylon, in theaters now at your local landmark cinemas. From Damien Chazelle, Babylon is an original epic set in 1920s Los Angeles, led by Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, and Diego Calva, with an ensemble cast including Jovan Adepo, Legend Lee, and Gene Smart. A tale of outsized ambition and outrageous excess, it traces the rise and fall of multiple characters during an era of unbridled decadence and depravity in the early Hollywood days. Babylon, in theaters now. Overtime is next with the Moose. This should be great. We'll be back in a moment. It is the RP Show, live on Game Plus Television. Live streaming on YouTube, your favorite podcast platform, and on the radio, WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518 3033. 902 518 3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902 518 3033.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models, GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Okay, yes. And we do have the Moose. We haven't had him on for a while. It's been an interesting day. I'm quite happy. You've changed. You've changed, Aaron.
Hour one is for last night's games. Hour two is for tonight. I don't need to be rocking last night all day.
Okay. Interesting show. I'm telling you, man, from day one, what have we said? We want this to be the View for sports fans. And that's exactly what it's been today, is specifically with this Ivan Provorov situation, the Philly Flyers defenseman who wouldn't participate in warm-up because the team was wearing Pride jerseys Tuesday night. He goes against his religion. Bradley is watching in Calgary, and he's written in on the 902 line, 518-3033. You can always reach us here. He said, I find it interesting when people use religion to not do certain things when it's convenient, but don't follow their religious beliefs to a T the rest of the time. Interesting comment there. We've kept it quite civil on the air today in terms of our discussion amongst ourselves and what the viewers have written in. I've seen here on Twitter that they're kind of going after each other in the mentions on our Twitter account, and that's fine. You know, what did one of our staff say? Let's call her Morgan. She said this morning, do we want to open this lid and open to the haters? Why not? You know,
discussion's
what,
a good thing.
Not talking about it. Discussion is a good thing. Yes.
Is a really good thing. And, you know, as I continue down this road and you talk about being undecided, for sure, like you have the right to do what you think is right for you. Absolutely. But you also have to be open to the consequences that come as a result, right? And you talk about Provorov being blackballed potentially. If I have anybody who identifies as gay or any other one of the LGBTQ on my roster, Ivan Provorov's not in the conversation. Like we're not bringing him into our team because that would upset the culture. Even if I have any sort of sensitivity towards the subject, probably not bringing him in the organization. So he is going to have to deal with that because it is public that he doesn't support it now, right? There's a difference, too, between just standing up for your beliefs and also letting everybody else know about your beliefs because now everybody knows and they're going to act accordingly.
And yet his coach, John Tortorella, last night, it was quoted, said with the interviews, he goes, I support him. He goes, he's sticking by his beliefs. That's Provy. So everybody has a different opinion. And oddly enough, you've heard me talk about this. There are songs, there are shows. Billy Dean, We Just Disagree. Great country song from the 80s. There ain't no good guy. There ain't no bad guy. There's only you and me, and we just disagree. Right? It's at the end of the day, sometimes you got to say, let's agree to disagree. And if you got to go separate ways, that's the way that it is. Different strokes. What it is. Right? What you talking about, Willis? Different strokes for different folks. How much you going to put up with as an employer? See, starting to realize why I don't want to be a boss. Don't want to be. Just want to be a boss of me. That's it. And the interesting thing is, there's people that have written in here, they're not happy with your comments, they're not happy with my comments. Some guy goes, you can't actually believe what you're saying. Actually, I do. I used to be a very closed-minded person, and somebody sat me down. It was actually an NFL player's mom. And I think you know the story, but she sat me down. Instead of getting mad and yelling at each other, she goes, Rod, this is why the way you're looking at things is wrong. And I opened my mind. She was right, and it's been wonderful ever since. So I kind of understand where the closed-minded people are coming from. I get it. I just don't want to be one of them anymore. And that's really all I have to say on that, other than there are people that have turned their back on the NFL because of their stance on blackballing Cal and Kaepernick. He's lost his fans, and I've had friends in Calgary, with incredibly right-wing province and city, that have a problem with the woke NHL, the woke WHL, because of these types of movements. And I'm like, I'm going to watch it no matter what. That doesn't offend me. Why are people getting so offended, Darren? Can you answer me that?
I don't know. Like, we just can't let other people be happy, and we can't take a moment to acknowledge somebody else, even if it's different than what we think or what we believe in. Sometimes it's okay to sit there and respect what somebody else is doing because it doesn't affect us, right? So we got to be okay with that and let other people do their thing and be inclusive. I think that's important and open-minded. Doesn't mean you have to, change your beliefs or change who you are or act a certain way, but we can respect other people. And I think that's important, very important.
Sometimes I wonder how far we've come as a society. They tell me that we've come a ways, but we haven't come everywhere. And that's just in the recovery world. But as I said it a million times, why do we have to keep repeating ourselves? That's why I don't think we've come that far. I've got friends and family in the LGBT community, as do you, and I've seen how they get treated, and it's wrong because the most horrible people that I know are white and straight. And I'm like, how come they get a pass? They're jerks. These people aren't hurting anybody, And I relate that gay thing to the recovery thing in that because I'm in a long-term recovery from addiction, we get treated a certain way. We get looked at a certain way. We get talked about and to a certain way. That's not fair either. I didn't want to be that, But this morning, as I said to you, and I'll say it on the air right now, it's been over a year since I've been down here, and my advisor said, because I've been going to 12-step meetings over Zoom from home, they're like, okay, it's been over a year now, Rod. You need to put your big boy pants on and go to some in-person meetings down there in South Florida. So today was the very first one that I did. And I walked into a room, and Darren, I didn't tell you this. First two guys I see, huge smiles. Welcome. We don't recognize you. Where are you from? Glad to have you. That's inclusivity. That felt pretty darn good. Yeah,
I bet.
Got their numbers.
Makes you wish you'd been showing up all along, and now you're not going to miss another one.
Yeah. Well, it was just, I think the term was, it's time to get off the tit, Rod. Start putting some roots down there. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says there are jerks in every group. Oh, yeah. Football fan bases, too. I'm not speaking about Jeff. I'm starting to get excited about CFL season. From Ryan O'Radio, he says, another great show. Last minute of play in the RP show, says Tuna. Tonight, Pittsburgh at Ottawa, Boston at the Islanders, Colorado at Calgary. That, to me, is the featured game. Tampa Bay at Vancouver, Dallas at San Jose. In the NBA, the Atlanta Hawks are going to have their way with the Dallas Mavericks at American Airlines Arena. Is there a featured game for you tonight, Moose?
Calgary, Colorado. That's the featured game for me tonight.
Yeah.
I think it's a playoff battle. Colorado's got to win all these games, and so does Calgary.
Put your thinking cap on overnight. Do some studying. Deal or no deal tomorrow. People are already talking about it, man. I think we got to get you a robe, too. People love it. Oh, thank you, everybody, for keeping it civil today. It's been a fantastic show. Really appreciate you, because without you, there'd be no us. We'll see you tomorrow, noon Eastern, here on Game Plus and WQEE.
You screwed up, Clark. Approved. I like it.